wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in our use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
We are live once more. This time we are in our Cop Chat segment right here on Activated Mornings on a Clean Fresh Sound, WEFM, with Roleza and Dianna. Joining us this morning for Cop Chat in our studios, we have Mr. Kasanki Kwao, who is the Station Sergeant of Police in the Major Crimes Unit, and Mr. Sean Roach, who is a police constable in the Criminal Records Department. They are here this morning to speak on the topic from the crime scene to the courtroom. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
How are you feeling this morning? Oh, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay, good. Roach?
I'm pretty good as well.
All right. All right, then.
Mr. Cole, could you speak again, please?
You and me?
Okay.
Loud and clear. All right,
All
very
right,
good.
lovely.
All
All
right.
right, so at this time, I know I introduced you, but I like to give people the opportunity to introduce themselves so people can hear the name from the voice that the name belongs to. So I will start with the younger gentleman on this end, Mr. Roach, and then we'll go to Mr. Kwao.
Okay, so good day. My name is Sean Roach. I work at the Criminal Records Office. My background is in CSI training. So with the
Like TV thing?
like that.
Okay.
So I am one of the personnel who works as a crime scene investigator. I received training in Barbados from the Regional Security System in crime scene management. And also I did a program at the Old Montrose Police Training School in an introduction to crime scene management. So I'm here to discuss on that aspect of things.
Good morning to you, folks. My name is Kasanki Kwao. I'm a Station Sergeant of Police attached to the Major Crimes Unit. I am a police officer for the past 29 years and still going. I'm a homicide detective. I am the person who you can say presently in charge of the homicide section, which is the Major Crimes Unit. I have several training experience in homicide and serious crime investigation, which I usually share with my colleagues, and we work along with the crime scene investigator, this criminal record office, the police IT department, and this criminal investigation department.
All right. Now to head into the topic, when we're talking about crime scene and the analyzing the crime scene, which department of the force is, should I say, responsible for that particular aspect? I know you'd have to work collaboratively, but which department is more responsible? If that's how I could put the question, if that makes any sense.
Well, when you talk about crime and crime reported, the criminal investigation department is first and foremost will deal with all aspects of crimes, be it the summary offenses, which are the summary crime, the less common crimes, or the indictable matter, which is the more serious crime, call them serious crimes. So the criminal investigation is charged with that responsibility of investigating crimes. My section, which is a Major Crimes Unit, we mainly deals with homicide investigation. In most cases, it may result in a murder or manslaughter, which are matters we investigate and will end up into the court for hearing.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Roleza, before you get to your question, for the purpose of some listeners who may not know, let's differentiate between murder and manslaughter, or the difference between a homicide and a murder, I think.
Well, homicide is actually one individual killing another. It will occur during a murder or even a manslaughter. The murder is when there are malice aforethought. You have an intention of killing that individual. And manslaughter, there may be some malice, but it doesn't mean that you have intention of killing that person, but it is an unlawful act.
Okay. Actually, never heard it broken down like that. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Because I know even for us, we use the word interchangeably, well, the words
Yeah.
interchangeably, and we've been corrected a couple times, right? So yes.
They have meaning.
Oh,
They have meaning.
yes. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So with regards to homicide investigations, what are usually steps in this?
Well, when a crime is reported, the police officers at the telecommunication may receive a report where there is a shooting in a particular area. That information is disseminated to the CID, the Major Crime Unit, and also the emergency response team that we have, namely the RRU, the Special Service Unit, or even the Special Patrol Unit. Based on the location, the emergency response team may reach force. Once they go to the location, their duty is to observe, make their observation, and they came up on a body. A body might be there at the scene. So first and foremost, they are responsible for securing that scene and to make sure that the area is safe for the other officers who will be arriving. That is the first step. When CID and the Major Crimes Unit arrive, most time we arrive with our crime scene investigators, which Mr. Roach is a part of. We will have to have dialogue with the most senior person for the emergency response team so that they can brief us as to a path which we may have to walk to get to the body. Reason being, we don't want to contaminate any evidence, so we have to use one common path. We then take over the scene from them while they maintain security. And there are times when we have to harden the scene because where they might secure, the area they might secure might not be sufficient for us, especially the crime scene investigators. So we might have to go further back with our cordon. And sometimes it does be difficult because you have to deal with the crowd. So crowd control is one of the things sometimes we have to deal with.
So question.
Sure.
You know, everybody quick to be social media reporters, right?
That's true.
So I've come across a body, right? What would you advise me to do? Do I take out my phone? Do I get close to the body? Do I, do I go around the scene? What do you advise persons who have come upon? Because remember, persons would actually, or villagers might actually be there on the scene before police are able to arrive. So what message do you have for persons who have come across something so that they don't contaminate the scene?
Well, we always, just before, we always come across situation like that because in most times, the public reach the scene before the police. What I will encourage persons to do Like in your case, the question, if you come upon a dead body, is because you do not have the training as such as a police officer, but it is good that you inform probably other neighboring persons and you stay away. You stay away from that scene because you may cause contamination and encourage others. Also, call the police as soon as possible. If there's a police in your area, in your neighborhood, alert the police. He will know what to do.
Okay.
Yeah. So with regards to that situation, first of all, I do not advise when you take do not take photographs of it
Okay.
and share it online. That's a no.
Don't go live neither, right?
Don't go live neither.
All right.
Because you're literally desensitizing the public to these kind of events.
Okay.
And with that said, when these kind of events occur, you find people become less sensitive the more exposed they are to these situations. So this ties into crime scene management. So the initial stage when the investigation is started, whereby you inform the police, all this ties into the investigation of the report. Who informed the police of this event? Because that person may be a suspect. Yes. So with that said, when it goes into the crime scene management, we need to look at securing it and making sure that this location is not seen by members of the public. So sometimes you see online that you're able to see the investigators or the body inside the scene. That should not happen.
Okay.
A crime could, a homicide could occur within the area, and it should be managed in such a way that you don't even know that that is occurring.
Okay. And I suppose one of the other things to look at as well too is that you would not want to find out that your relative has passed away in a gruesome way, especially from a live, right? From a live
That's true.
broadcast. So
Yeah.
that's another thing as well.
That is so true. And the incidents where people will be informed of things in a very insensitive way. And we need to be very mindful of how we approach people with these kind of situations, because you don't know what kind of trauma or health illnesses they may have, which may go further down the line.
And also, I must add that when the relatives of the deceased see such live footages, whether it's live or just pictures, it can cause them not to cooperate with the police because we would want as much information from them in relation to the deceased. So that can hinder them from sharing certain information with us.
Okay. All right.
All right. Now I understand, of course, that we're dealing with the police and not every single thing that we can or must know. So, and now I ask my question. Can you tell us the steps involved, or those that you can tell us, from the time that I think Officer Kwao here
They started
mentioned,
it, yeah.
yes. So some of the steps from the time that you arrive at the scene to, well, getting ready for court.
Okay, so I can give a rundown of that. So initially, we start with the crime scene and management, where we get the initial report, and then the relevant persons would be informed. Then the next step, we will have the crime scene investigation, whereby we take photographs, recover evidence, interview preliminary witnesses and the like, and do an analysis of the scene. And from there, we would have a post-scene investigation, whereby we may revisit the scene in different conditions, as well as do an autopsy, whereby we make an assessment of the cause of death and other factors that may have caused that situation for the person. Then we would have the arrest and interrogation section based on the information received and executing search warrants and the like. And then from there, we have the case preparation, file preparation for court. Because in all of this, it needs to be recorded to show why is this accused person here and what's the justification for their sentencing. So from the very beginning to this stage, everything needs to be recorded to show that the evidence that we collected is credible to present before the court. And then we have the court proceedings, whereby it may have a preliminary trial,
Inquiry, yes.
inquiries, before it actually goes to the court.
And what's the purpose of the preliminary trial?
Okay, the preliminary inquiry hearing.
Inquiry, yes.
This is where all the evidence you gather in that matter, the prosecutor will present all the evidence. And if the court is satisfied that there's a prima facie case for the accused,
Write that down for us now.
once there's enough and the court is satisfied there's a case for him to answer,
All right.
then the matter is traversed to the High Court, which is being tried by a judge and jury. So the preliminary inquiry being tried by a magistrate, but in the High Court, it is tried by a judge and jury. And at the High Court, that is where the whole totality of the evidence you will hear, even new evidence, the evidence from the defense. Because in the preliminary hearing, the defense can resolve, the accused can resolve his defense until if the matter travels to the High Court.
Okay.
Yes, and there is one final step that is so important. There is the post-trial proceedings. This is where you can have appeal for certain cases. So if you felt that justice was not served or certain things were overlooked, it can be appealed to say that, okay, maybe the sentence could be waived or completely dismissed.
And also in that light, if you have an appeal court, the sentence can increase.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What are some of the, what's wrong with me? Hold a second. All right. What are some of the advanced techniques or tools that we use for investigations here in SVG?
Okay. So in terms of the crime scene management, we utilize metal detectors to make estimations of where spent shells are. Also, we do digital photography instead of using film photography. We also recover fingerprints using special powders to do so. And also, we keep doing ongoing training in crime scene investigation. So those are some of the ways or advanced techniques that we use, because these approaches cannot be done by somebody just walking on the scene to say, okay, let me take a photograph of this and then send it to the court. It's not like that at all.
Okay. And because many of us look at TV, we've noticed that the use of DNA is important in solving crime.
Yes.
What is the role of using DNA here? Do we use DNA to help to solve crimes, or are we getting to that stage? In terms of forensics, what else do we do?
It also depends on the nature of the crime scene. So, for example, for sexual offenses and even for homicides, we can apply DNA in order to determine if a person is linked to this particular scene, or even to determine if this person is that person, if the individual is unrecognizable, depending on the stage of decomposition of the body. Because you don't always go to a homicide scene with everything intact.
All right, so let's say skin on the fingernails, use of hair with the roots still attached. Do we do those things here?
It all depends on the circumstance. So based on the assessment of the scene, then we could determine what would be the most appropriate method to collect evidence or forensic evidence.
What I think though, the crime scene investigators, they will do the practical things from the crime scene, and even the fingernail clippings, they would ask the pathologist, because before the autopsy, at times they will collect the fingernail clippings, because it might be a case where there might have been a rustle, to force a rustle before a shooting a car or stabbing. So the necessary things in terms of the collection of evidence, whether for forensic or else, are being done by the crime scene investigators. We have matters pending right now where we send items for forensic analysis in St. Lucia, because one of the problems we encounter, we do not have our own forensic facility here, so we have to sort help elsewhere, and it's costly. So as the crime scene investigator, it all depends on the case. We will be able to collect and to send for analysis, but that is only on a small scale. We are hoping that we can get it done more on a large scale, and one day we will get our own forensic facility here in St. Vincent.
Okay, I have a question. So there was a gentleman in the who made a situation known to the public again last week, right? With regards to his sister. And what he mentioned is that he would like, okay, so you may have samples or you may have evidence, and they would like for it to be sent to be tested. However, they cannot pay for the testing. Private persons cannot pay for testing. Can you comment on that?
I think I have a knowledge as to that incident. Well, we at the homicide major crime are investigating that matter, what we are referring to. And we are in the process of having the exhibit sent for analysis, forensic analysis. It is not wise, I believe. I don't think a private person can obtain exhibit from us to send overseas. But in terms of finance, maybe that can be discussed with the authorities in terms of the financial, if they want to be a part of it and pay the financial cost, part of the financial cost. I don't see any problems with that.
Okay.
But sometimes when, like the remarks the gentleman made, sometimes he or she, well, a gentleman in this case, may put it across wrongly.
Okay.
May put it across wrongly, because although we give feedbacks most of the time to the families of victims in terms of our exhibit and how we would store exhibit to when we send them for analysis overseas, we cannot discuss those aspects with them.
Okay. All right. I just really want to know if, let's say, for whatever reason, police can't pay for it or send it off immediately or whatever, right? If a private person can pay to have it sent, even though chain of command, everything would still rest with police.
I don't think that is
chain of custody.
That is not the chain of custody.
Custody, right?
That is not practice. That is not practice. I never in my 29 years of in the police force, never heard of any type of practice like that.
Okay.
The police always stand the course and always have these exhibits sent overseas for analysis. But sometimes the public believe when we send these exhibits overseas for forensic analysis, it's just a 2 or 3 months. Remember, those forensic facilities, like in St. Lucia, they are doing work for other Caribbean countries. So sometimes we might be on the back burner a bit, and it might take a while before we get back our results, whether it's a positive or a negative result, so to speak.
And another thing to consider is that the role of the police is to be impartial. So when we process a crime scene, we are being as impartial as possible to ensure that there's a fairness in the execution of justice.
Okay. All right. So we have somebody here on the live asking a question on WhatsApp. Do we have ballistic testing system here in SVG?
No. Most of the time when we have cases, we send our exhibit to Barbados for assistance.
Okay.
All right. My final question before we take a short ad break. How does the CID work with the other departments? I know you mentioned earlier the RRU and the SSU in terms of going to the scene to assist there, but in what other ways do you work with the other departments, in the entire process?
Okay. So when we deal with the scene, sometimes the CID would reach to the scene first. They have a job to secure the scene. We communicate. When we arrive on the scene, the major crime unit arrive at the scene, we will communicate with the most senior person who will give us a rundown. They would start the investigation in terms of collecting information, probably from talking to people in the area, start the canvassing process, looking for potential witnesses. Now, talking about potential witness, on a crime scene, we have to be very careful when we deal with people. So we have to, at least if we can make a contact with a witness, a potential witness, we will have to get back to them at a later date. Most of the time, we end up in court together, the CID and the major crime, because we have to give evidence. Mm-hmm. They give evidence on the first response sometimes, and we as the investigator and what we do. Also, the IT department comes into play, because when we do our canvassing in the area, we're looking for surveillance camera, maybe on the residence or even the pole, which are being monitored by the police at the telecommunication, police control. So once we make a contact with a resident who is willing to assist us in viewing their system for any footages, then we will relay that information to the IT department, who would then go and obtain that footage so that we can view and see if there's anything workable, and will able to assist us with our investigation.
Okay. And with that, we are going to take an ad break, and then we will be right back with more of our Cop Chat.
That could have been you. An accident that could have been avoided because your tires had almost no grip on the road. Safety is a factor that should never be overlooked when it comes to your car or whatever you drive. SVG Tire Sales and Services in Balls Avenue and in Arnisvale carries a wide selection of quality new tires to fit any car, truck, minibus, or SUV, so you can experience a comfortable and safe commute every time. We are agents for the world's most reliable brands on and off the road, including Kenda Tires, the king of the mountain, Cooper Tires, king of the road and track, Ostone, the king of the outback, and High Fly, the king of the Asian highway. We also carry new tires for light or heavy-duty trucks from MRF, High Fly, and Linglong. A reliable set of new tires keep you, your passengers, and your payload always in the safe lane. So when you need quality tires with reliability at 100%, choose SVG Tire Sales and Services in Kingstown, 457-1467, or in Arnisvale, 456-6444. SVG Tire Sales and Services. Performance and reliability proven when the rubber meets the road.
WEFM reminds and encourages the general public and users of the Kittles Beach to keep it clean at all times. Discard of all garbage properly. It is illegal to remove the sand from the beach. Let us keep the Kittles Beach and other beaches across St. Vincent and the Grenadines clean, so that you and I can enjoy it and marine life can survive. This is a message from WEFM 99.9, the clean, fresh sound.
Instacash now offering you more chances to win with 2 new games. There's Strike for $2 and In Between available at $3. These 2 new games are loaded with cash prizes. With Strike, you can match up to 10 numbers and win $2,500. In Between, so easy to play, offering up to $6,000. Get your Instacash Strike and In Between tickets at Lotto agents. And remember, with Instacash, there's no waiting for a draw, and you can win instantly.
That's the sound of your animals. Strong, healthy, and delivering yields you love. That didn't just happen. It began with you feeding them only the best. East Caribbean Feeds. Rest assured, we only produce your feeds with premium ingredients. No hormones, no animal byproducts. Just everything your animal needs for maximum nutrition. Because your animals deserve only the best. East Caribbean Feeds from Maximum Nutrition.
ECGC has slashed feed prices by 8 to 10%. Check your local supplier for more details. ECGC, providers of feed for maximum nutrition.
Do you want to feel clean or refreshed after using the bathroom? Whether at home, work, or play? Welcome to My Smart Toilet Seat. All of our products wash your private parts after using the bathroom without the use of your hands. Let's hear what our national table tennis champion, Damian Dublin, has to say.
I tried it and it works. There are 4 options. Simply add an attachment to your existing toilet seat, or choose a non-electric seat, or better, an electric seat that washes and dries you with warm water and air. Lastly, get a complete smart toilet that also flushes itself. What are you waiting for? Get your smart toilet seat today. Be smart, be refreshed, be clean, be a winner like me.
Our Smart Toilet Seat is available throughout St. Vincent at retail outlets with the orange flags. You can call us at 457-1703 or visit our website at justwashit.vc.
99.9 WEFM. Cop Chat. You've got questions for the police? They're here to give you the answers on WEFM 99.9.
The world has become such a cruel place. Something is wrong with the human race. Preacher man say it's wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in our use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
We are back with our Cop Chat segment right here on WEFM with Roleza and Dianna. In studio with us this morning, we have Officer Kasanki Kwao, Station Sergeant of Police in the Major Crimes Unit, and Officer Sean Roach, Police Constable in the Criminal Records Department. And we are discussing from the crime scene to the courthouse. I think before we left there, we were mentioning...
Right, I just remind persons that it is an interactive program, right? Yeah. And person calling back. All right. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning to the panel here, and good morning to the officer.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Questions are like clarified. Now, you spoke about homicide and murder. What is the difference between both descriptions?
Homicide is actually the one individual killing another. And murder now is with malice aforethought. A person with malice aforethought kill another individual, which is an unlawful act. Sometimes you might get a killing which may be accidental. It cannot be resolved term as a murder, but it is a homicide.
Yeah, but if it reaches the stage where you have to charge somebody, a homicide, it's not the same murder you have to charge the section, and the murder you have to charge them and this. Not necessary.
Murder is under section 159, subsection 1. There can be a killing and have a court proceeding prior to that killing, but it doesn't mean that you have to charge for murder or manslaughter at the time. There can be a coroner's inquest, because every death you have to do investigation and there will be a court proceeding. So not every killing you will charge someone for a murder. It all depends on the circumstances, because you have murder, you have manslaughter, or you can have a criminal coroner's inquest in respect of a killing which may not result a murder or manslaughter based on what the ruling may be.
So, the case in St. Vincent so far, and this is the idea where a person is charged for homicide.
Well, homicide, that's the wider aspect of it. You charge for murder, can charge for manslaughter. There are cases where you charge for murder and charge for manslaughter, which are homicide.
So homicide is the umbrella, right? And under that umbrella, you have, it could be murder or manslaughter. Murder is if it was deliberate and intentional, and manslaughter is if it's
it can be accidental,
right.
I mean, but all of them are unlawful acts.
Right.
The intention might be different in both offenses.
Okay. So far for that, now, you charge somebody, let's say there's a shooting, and you charge somebody for that offense. Let's say the weapon that is used in a crime, if you don't retrieve that weapon and the matter goes to court, you feel there would be a conviction in that matter? Are you using the weapon as exhibit?
The recovery of exhibit, it does not always, okay. There are ways in which you could determine the type of injury somebody received or what was the cause of injury, especially inside the post-mortem. So that could be given as evidence to say that this particular instrument was used to cause the death of somebody. So you may not always need to have the physical exhibit to present to the court. But once other circumstances support that this is the reason or it's linked to this person committing this offense, it could be admissible.
What I may add also, right?
Yeah.
If you use the gun to shoot the deceased person, right, we investigate a murder. Okay? Remember, the perpetrator will not stay at the scene with the gun. When the police comes, he will flee the scene with the gun, because the gun is a very important part of the investigation. If we retrieve that gun, there's a lot we can do in respect of that gun.
Correct.
So, even though we do not, that's why we during our investigation, once we have a suspect, we will go and execute search warrant to see if we can retrieve the gun, because we know how important that gun is. But we can obtain other evidence apart from the gun that we can use in a court of law, which we can gain a conviction in relation to that matter.
Right. You're the expert, so I still have a doubt about it, but that you're the expert, so I'll go along with you anyhow. Okay, thank you for the time. I don't want to take time anymore. So
you're welcome,
thank you.
sir.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for your call.
All right. So yes, remember that it is an interactive program. And if you wish to pose your questions to the officers, the number to call is 457-9997. And we have someone else on the line. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
We say good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Now, in respect to the last caller there, and people are of the opinion that if you don't have the weapon that is used to kill somebody, you can't get a conviction. In Vincent and across the world for murder, where the deceased body was never recovered.
That's true.
The typical Vincentian case in that, the celebrated case in that, is the Eversley Thompson murder in Beckwith some years ago. And that matter reached Privy Council and the conviction was upheld. Eversley Thompson is still in prison. So even if he doesn't recover the weapon and you have other evidence, cogent, probative, persuasive evidence, the conviction could be held and be sound.
That's true,
okay?
caller. That's true.
That's for the caller who called earlier on.
Thanks for your assistance in that area.
My name is Adolfo Stelpress, by the way.
I catch your voice. Senior prosecutor.
Yes. The other thing is this. We have had convictions in Kingston where DNA was used, forensic was used. There's a murder in Enum some years ago where a lady was raped and killed in the bushes. I just spoke with the person who did the investigation, the great Sidney James, just to confirm. And the exhibits, the DNA exhibits went to Quantico and came back positive. The accused is still in jail. We have had a case in Richland Park. A young lady was raped. The DNA went away, came back positive. The accused was charged, but unfortunately, the day the matter was supposed to be heard, when the victim was supposed to give evidence in the High Court,
yes,
the victim was killed. Very morning, she was killed. Those evidence was based on DNA. We had another case where DNA saved an accused person. The defense lawyers in that matter delayed Nicole Sylvester. The DNA said that the police had the wrong man. So we have had cases with DNA. But the problem the police face is we doesn't have our own forensic lab.
That's true.
And the commissioner can't set up a lab. But the police force is not a private entity. The lab has to be established by the powers that be. It's not the police fault that they don't have a lab.
We will welcome it, Carla. We will welcome the lab.
Well, we've been calling for that years.
And civilians stand behind you all, okay?
Yes.
well, I'm happy that some civilians stand, but the majority, sometimes when I hear the comments, they don't use DNA, they can't do DNA. As if to say the police fault. We have the people with the training who can do it.
That's true.
They sometimes say, they can't take fingerprint. We have the people with the training who can do that. We have a man named Franklin Williams, one of the best fingerprint exporters across the region. But if you don't have the tools, and you're not running a private entity, so you have to go and get the tools yourself. The authorities need to equip the police force with the necessary tools, then we'll get better results.
And Carla, I must also say that Franklin Williams' name still is mentioned in respect of the field in which he trained.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She is highly trained. He trained in Hendon in England and with the Metropolitan Police in Canada. We have the people, but we don't have the tools. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Carla.
All right, thanks, Carla. So who we beating up on now? Not police, right?
It is unfortunate that after all that in the 21st century, 2025, the police force does not have a forensics lab, but we seem to see the importance of getting many other things. You know, that is something that should have been a priority. We shouldn't be here in 2025 talking about not having a forensics lab when over the years we've been talking about the situation with crime.
So as you call us, we don't direct our fencing towards the police. Take it further.
The people
all right.
the money to build the facility.
All right. So one of the things that came out from Adelphus's call is a witness who was killed the morning that they were supposed to present evidence. Could you speak a little bit more on witness protection here in SVG?
Okay. That is a very important aspect when it comes to our investigation, because there are some witnesses who volunteer information in relation to homicide, sensitive matters such as homicide. And they're willing to give statement, they give a statement. And after they give that statement, while giving that statement, they will express fearfulness for their life, that they fear for their life because the person who may have committed that murder may tend to kill him or her. Could be a close relative or could be an association of the suspect might be an association of a group which she also may associate herself with. When we have a situation like this, we have to bring it to the attention of the ACP in charge of crime, the Assistant Commissioner in charge of crime, Mr. Trevor Bailey. We have to keep the information given by that witness in a confidential state. So we must maintain confidentiality. It doesn't mean because the witness may come to the major crime unit that everybody in the major crime unit will know what is being given in the statement. Most likely the investigating officer might not be the person who recorded a statement, might be somebody who she trusts. So we will have that person, along with the witness, have conversation with the ACP, who will then take the witness to the DPP's office and they will have dialogue in respect of that. If it's a case where the witness give evidence here in St. Vincent, because we as police officers, we have our role to play. Even though the witness is in St. Vincent, we have to ensure her safety when she's moving from one point to the other way.
He or she.
He or she.
Right.
Because that is something that we did in the past and we still continue to do. The witness, if you reach to the stage where she gives evidence in court, there's a witness anonymity where you can give evidence via video link. And when you give evidence via video link, your image will be blurred and your voice, and the DPP will advise you instruct you when it comes to giving your evidence as to how it is, because there's some alteration is being done within giving evidence. So if both of you was walking together, you charge for crime, and when both of us walking together, we commit a crime, then we have a conversation with this man. You can go and give evidence to say, well, when myself and the accused was walking together, he had a conversation with this man because the accused didn't know, well, only you know
the
that
three of us.
I talked to this man. So there's certain aspect of the evidence you will have to left out, right? And the same, and with the witness protection program, sometimes the witness, after discussion with the DPP, arrangements are being made with the DPP and other authorities in getting the witness to a different jurisdiction pending trial. And presently we have witnesses overseas awaiting trial. And even if they're overseas, they don't have to come back to Siemens when the trial commences. They can give their evidence via video link, and it happened on numerous occasions because we have to protect these witnesses. Even after the trial, the program still continue. It is costly, from feedback I get from the DPP and other persons in authority, because you have to provide meals, and in some countries they provide a job. But it's a collaborated effort between authorities here and probably authorities in whether neighboring islands are in different areas in the world. But it is going, and it is on a small scale, so to speak, and we hope that it expand, because witnesses are fearful of coming forward, and we are grateful for the witnesses who choose to come forward and assist us in solving some of these murders.
All right, question stemming from that though. Do the defense lawyers know who the witnesses are, and do they get beforehand, and do they get the opportunity to cross-examine them?
No. Well, the procedure, when it comes to prosecution, the DPP will disclose witness statements and other documents to the defense.
Names included?
No.
Okay.
If when we take statements, we can include certain information.
Okay.
We provide that separately. But this witness, the defense would not be getting any copies of the statement. That would not be disclosed. And in court, I think they don't allow them to cross-examine the witness.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we are coming down to the close to the end of our cop chat today. But I need to ask. I know that we say police and we act as if you all are robots, right? Or you are inhuman. And I cannot possibly imagine going on the scene of how many homicides we had last year? 50, 55?
54.
54?
51 was classified as murders.
Okay. So having to go upon these scenes, right? How do you deal with these situations from a human standpoint? How do you guys cope with this?
Well, as investigative officers in the major crime unit, sometimes we may have one, maybe two, because we are not only centered with homicide in around the central division where we are based. We have to go on the outskirts as well to assist detective in the South Central Division, and also we have to deal with investigation in the leeward, the further part of the country to the leeward side. It is very hectic for us because the amount of officers in the department to the amount of homicide that we have to deal with, say on a weekly basis, it takes a lot from us. But we are doing what we can. We will check out all information that come to the fore. And once we have a lead, then we concentrate on that homicide. But we still will continue to investigate little on the others. Just recently, we laid charges against persons for murders, and we just charged an individual last month for the murder of Precious Williams, which occurred in 2022. So even the murder, whether it's 2 or 3 years ago or 4, we still have to keep pushing. Any information come to hand, once we get the evidence in relation to any of those matters, we have to, well, there's a process where we interview the suspect, because we have the interviewing room where we interview suspects and so on. We forgot to mention that it's electronic interview we do. We don't write again, take statement from a suspect. We do electronic interview where you have video and audio, and that will be born on a DVD. So you will actually see the interview. So once we get the evidence, we charge persons for crimes which is committed, whether in this year, last year, or the year before, or because there is no limitation on a homicide case.
Okay. I actually meant more from an emotional standpoint, how y'all cope. But I don't know, do you get support, psychological support? Because that's what I meant. Going upon the scene of a crime cannot be easy, and to be going when it's not murder, is rape, is this or that, you know? How do y'all cope?
Well, for me personally, I distinguish between being at work and being at home. So with that said, it's all about when you are there, you make sure that you get the task done. And when you're at home, I don't associate myself with any kind of gruesome videos.
So your mind blocks all the images?
Yeah, I meditate, I do all kind of stuff.
Okay. So that's okay.
But in terms of coping mechanisms, these things could leave psychological scars on top of you and make you very desensitized to certain things. So unless you have a grounded foundation on how to deal with people and still be relatable in some way, it could have diverse effects on different individuals. Not everyone would be the same.
Okay.
Well, I have been dealing with horrific scenes, autopsies, on my for my whole police career, and I never went to any psychological evaluation.
No, you're very strong.
But what I must say is that I'm not feeling the effects now. But I am fearful that probably later down when I'm retired and that I get to become an old man, that these things have effects on me where I might say, oh, I start saying dead man and have to run out my sleep and these kind of things. Because we may think that it's okay now, but you never know what can happen down the road. As my colleague indicated, when we perform our duties, our mentality is to get the job done. That is our main focus. And sometimes the job takes us to suffer mountain. It takes us to just bones, decomposed bodies. You know? So these are some of the conditions in which we have to deal with. Not every day you will deal with somebody who was just freshly murdered. We will say a fresh dead. But we have to deal with decomposition, we have to deal with bones, and we have to be professional and deal with it just as like if it's just a fresh dead.
Okay.
So it's very hard on us, very hard on us.
I think, I'm not sure. I'm trying to go through my memory because I feel like we had some similar conversation before in one of our Cup Chat segments. But do you have psychologists or, well, I shouldn't say psychologists, but therapists at least or counselors attached to the force or available for if needed?
Not at this time. Not at this time.
Okay. All right.
So we are going to leave y'all with your final word. We've come to the end of the interview, so we're going to both leave you with some final thoughts that you want to share with the public.
Okay. One of the key things is that remember to be mindful on what you share online, because fighting crime or even distributing certain images, it could have a two-sided effect. One, you could be actually charged for distributing that, and the other one, it could cause desensitization of the public, or even make people feel unsafe within an environment that they live. So we need to be mindful on how we use the media.
I would like to thank the persons who would have assisted us throughout the year 2024. It was a rough year for us in terms of investigating homicide. So I want to thank the person who would have shared information and coming forward and assist the police, especially when we use information and could arrest perpetrators for these crimes. From the homicide list last year, I realized that is younger persons between the age of 18 and 45 or more, the person committing these offenses. Well, who we charge thus far for some of these offenses. So it's a pattern where young people are actually involved in the commission of homicides. And we need to do something about that. And not only the police alone can solve this problem, but we have to get everybody on board. So for 2025 going forward, I am hoping that we will get a better year and the public will continue, even do more in regards to assisting the police in this with the hideous task of investigating homicides.
All right. And let me just add to stay away from the crime scenes. How far should you tell them to stay away from the?
You shouldn't be able to see the body or anything.
Okay, you heard that, public. So a lot of the things that we have been seeing, we should not be seeing. Okay, so you should not be at the crime scene at all. All right. And with that, we have come to the end of our Cup Chat segment right here on WEFM. This morning, we had Officer Quao and Officer Roach joining us to discuss from the crime scene to the
courtroom.
Courtroom, yes. From the crime scene to the courtroom. Very, very informative, interesting discussion here this morning. It is now 9:12, so we are going to head out and we are going straight into our bank rates.